Alright, so we're going to do the quadratic formula today. Quadratic formula is a way that we can solve quadratic equations, trinomials. It works for any trinomial, not like factoring, which only works for factorable trinomials. It is a three-termed polynomial. So it has an x squared, an x, and a constant. Okay, so it looks like ax squared plus bx plus c. Okay, so does anybody remember what the quadratic formula is? This is a quadratic equation. The quadratic formula is x equals negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4 times a times c all over 2 times a. We're not doing any operations that you've never seen before. All we're going to do is take some numbers and plug them into this formula and evaluate. Do you know how to square a number? Yes. Do you know how to multiply? Do you know how to subtract? Do you know how to take a square root? Yes. We went over that. You should. Do you know how to divide? And do you know how to add and subtract? Then you can do this. Okay? It's not a bunch of stuff you've never done before. It's putting it all together in one formula. We add, with the plus or minus, we will take this number and we will add it, and then we'll do a separate problem and subtract. So it's two separate problems with the plus or minus. Okay, so let's look at an example. How about 0 equals x squared minus 5x minus 6. The first thing I need to do is identify a, b, and c. Okay? A will always be the number in front of the x squared, so a is 1 in this case. Remember, if there's no number, it's a 1. B is always the number in front of the x term, so b is what? Negative 5. And c is the number that is a constant, which means it doesn't have the variable, so c is negative 6. A is the number in front of the x squared. If it's not there, then it's a 1. It can't be a 0, because if it were 0, then the x squared wouldn't be there. Okay. Now I'm going to substitute my numbers into the equation. Okay. So I have x equals the opposite, negative 5. Be very careful when your b is negative that you take the opposite of that. It's going to make it positive. Plus or minus the square root of b squared, that's negative 5 squared, minus 4 times a, which is 1, times c, which is negative 6, all divided by 2 times 1. It is so important that you plug in the numbers correctly. If you don't, then you're obviously not going to get the right answer. So pay very close attention to what your A, B, and C are, and make sure you're plugging them into the proper formula. That's why it's so important to make sure you're copying the formula down with every problem, so you make sure you plug it in correctly. And then I'm going to evaluate. Well, I use the order of operations to evaluate. The parentheses, I can think of the square root and the top of the fraction as parentheses. I have to do the top of my fraction first, and on the top of that fraction, I have to do what's underneath the square root. And so I'm going to do my exponent, and then I'm going to multiply. Okay? I'm going to have to pause because I'm out of time.